cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and speed reader, Jill, and today we will be discussing the New Prophecy, Book 2, Moonrise. Hello, my friend.
Hello! For those counting along, I did finish this book in the car ride yesterday, so I didn't read the day of the podcast recording for once.
Yeah, an early read for you.
Because I knew I would have an hour and 45-minute drive to this concert yesterday, and my lovely husband drove us, so I got to sit in the passenger seat and read my cat book.
You got to have Warrior Cats time. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it took me about an hour and 45 minutes, so proud of myself on that one.
You have a gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good time. That's a PB. Gotta be.
That's a PB. Yeah, for sure. We're speed running this shit.
Speed running it.
Well, how about you, Scout? How are you lately?
I am doing pretty good. You know what I've been doing is I've been back in the trenches playing Clangen.
Me too.
I'm like 350 moons into a clan on the newest patch. That's the newest official patch. I'm having a good time.
Me too. I really like the new patch.
It's great. My personal favorite thing about it is that sometimes if you send one cat on a solo border patrol, it will trigger a forbidden romance event.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
and sometimes,
my God.
Sometimes, so they'll go, and sometimes it'll be like they go and they sneak across the border, and it's just that like they hang out with another cat in the moonlight until the stars wink out, and then they go home, and it's like your reputation with this clan has not changed. And then sometimes the cat they're trying to find is there, but there's another cat there from the other clan, and they get mad, and then it's like your cat has gotten a claw wound and your reputation has gotten worse.
What the hell?
And then sometimes, these are my favorites, sometimes they go out there and they find the cat, and the cat joins your clan.
What the hell? I gotta do this shit. I'm so afraid of sending my cats out on border patrols alone because I'm always getting fucking got by shit.
Here's what's happened is sometimes I have cats where I'm like, you seem like a troublemaker, and I don't know that I want you around where you can be killing my deputies, for example, or maybe sometimes committing murder against your mother-in-law. So instead, I'm going to try and send you on solo border patrols, and we'll just see what happens. You know, maybe it goes fine.
Casually trying to murder her cats.
Maybe it goes fine. Maybe this is the will of StarClan. But this is how I discovered it, because I also sometimes send my leaders out because the bitches never lose lives.
Oh my God, it drives me crazy. that is one thing I wish they would like allow as like a toggle switch, is like leaders are more likely to lose lives. Like, Christ, it takes forever.
I know, those 9 lives, they really last a long time.
I cannot tell you the number of leaders I've had where they've lost all the rest of their lives due to old age and gone to StarClan. It's so funny.
It's so funny. And then I go through like 3 different deputies because all the deputies get old and retire before the leader dies.
Which, like, yeah, I feel like there's usually several deputies under a leader, but also leaders, I mean, it feels like leaders change quite frequently. Not like all the time, but
a lot of the time it's also like I make my deputy my special little guy. And like I choose my favorite cat as deputy, and then I'm like, they're getting old. They're never going to get to be leader.
I want my special guy to be special.
I want my special guy. But yeah, so that was how I accidentally discovered that, and now it's one of my favorite things. There was even one time when my leader, Peach Star, went and found his secret paramour and left the clan to be with her.
Oh, fuck, dude.
And then
holy shit, I'm literally gonna pull up Clangen and have it playing in the background while we're doing this.
Was demoted to like being Peachberry instead of Peach Star and went and lived with a kitty pet, Pine Star style.
Oh my god. I've noticed there has been like I've noticed some of the new events, like if I've got a pair of mates who go out on a training patrol together.
Yeah.
There's sometimes like a really sweet little like a sweet little paragraph about like how much they enjoy just being together and how good it makes them feel. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
It's so sweet. There's one that's like, they didn't get any training done, but well.
Oh my god.
They would never trade this afternoon for anything. I'm like, damn.
Oh my god. I love this. There's so much fun little things, so many fun little things to discover in here.
Yeah, so much fun. I've also been, I've begun to be able to go in and like find through the relationship tracker who probably killed somebody. Like when a murder has happened and they're like, X cat was murdered, the culprit is unknown. I am in the fucking business.
That shit.
I'm Columboing. I am going into the relationships panel. I'm typing in the name of the cat who died, and I am like, okay, which one of yins has a red line with this cat? Who hated him?
That's so cool.
It's a good time. It's fun. We kind of accidentally shifted into How's the Prey Running.
We did.
But that's okay. Prey's been running good in our little virtual cat clans.
That's so true.
Do you have any food anecdotes to share?
Oh, I've gotten my husband to enjoy Indian food.
That's
we found
huge.
something that he enjoys. Yeah, so it was funny because, you know, usually it's something that I have to get when he is on a trip and it is just me. But the other day he was like, all right, I'm gonna sound crazy. Can we order from the Indian place for dinner tonight? I was like, oh shit.
A new man.
So I really like the Indian place near our apartment. That's
awesome.
They have a really good chicken korma and really good paneer.
Oh, hell yeah.
What about you, Scout? What have the food journeys been like for you?
Food journeys this week have been, I'm going to call my mother out briefly.
Ooh.
Just that last week I lent her the sticky note menu that I have been making and putting on the refrigerator. I lent her the one for the week so she could write down the grocery list, and she did misplace it, and we don't know where it went. So there's no a menu
list
at large.
Yeah. You know, it happens.
It happens, but we were able to, remember what we had written down and pull victory from the jaws of defeat and all that.
Well, that's good.
I made this week a new recipe that was like a barbecue meatball sheet pan bake. Okay. Where it was like kind of playing with sweet and sour and like Hawaiian barbecue flavors with like pineapple and onions and red pepper roasted with the meatballs. It all tasted really good. I made a homemade sort of barbecue sauce to baste the meatballs with. That was all great, but something about my meatball texture wasn't right, but it had the spirit. Like the meatballs were too squishy. They were fully cooked, but they were really too tender.
What did you mix in with your meatballs?
It was a 50-50 beef and pork mix, and then breadcrumbs, soy sauce and orange juice instead of using milk, a little bit of the barbecue sauce, and onion and pineapple. So I think that I probably just had put a little bit too much liquid in them and not enough breadcrumb. Yeah,
that's possible. Also, I always suggest putting one egg in your meatballs.
Oh yeah, I did have an egg in there.
Oh, good.
That is a good tip. But yeah, this is a hot tip from us here on this podcast.
Another hot tip that my father better not find out that I've shared. This is a secret. This is a secret.
This is just between you and us, podcast listeners.
Yeah, don't go telling anybody my secret. My dad will use goldfish, like crushed up goldfish, in the meatballs instead of breadcrumbs. He's also done it with Cheerios, and those are really good in there too because they kind of soak up the liquid a little bit and they make for a really tender meatball.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so we've done it with like plain goldfish, cheddar goldfish, Parmesan goldfish.
Tasty. I love an unorthodox
suggest.
breadcrumb.
Yeah, definitely suggest.
Before I noticed that we did have like one of them tubes of store-bought breadcrumbs, I was like fully on the way to being like, let's do Ritz crackers.
Oh yeah, that's a really good choice too. Honestly, any cracker instead of a breadcrumb. If you are like, I don't have any breadcrumbs, but I've got this big old thing of goldfish.
Guess what you got? You
can make a meatball.
We have breadcrumbs at home.
Exactly. It's so easy to make a meatball. I love a meatball.
I love a meatball too. I'm usually not. We make our meatballs in this house, but I have not been like the lead meatball maker for a while. So you know,
the meatballer, if you will.
I have not been the meatballer. I have not been meatballing, but I am going to take those tips into my heart and use them the next time I am in charge of meatballs.
Hell yeah. I'm also going to maybe try that soy sauce idea. That sounds really good.
Yeah, I love my recent life hack is to just like throw a little bit of soy sauce in mostly anything, usually stuff that's beef based, but like anywhere that you would put salt in. Sometimes I just sub out some of the salt for a little bit of the soy sauce, especially if it is something that is really like beefy. I think that it adds some nice texture, some nice umami.
I think one of the artists that I followed for a while, I think she put soy sauce in her pasta sauce.
Oh yeah, I would do that. I've started putting a little bit of soy sauce in my chili when I make a chili.
Ooh, smart. I usually put like a dash of Worcestershire sauce in my meatballs. I just think it gives a little bit of a punch in there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
yeah, I had some Worcestershire in the barbecue sauce that I put together.
Love that.
Yeah, good
I
stuff.
love meatballs. I should make meatballs. We got some meat in the fridge or freezer. I can make some meatballs this week.
Yeah, do it. I'm here. I'm a meatball enabler.
So you got some art in here for us.
I do. I'm here in the art corner once again. I found a couple of things on my favorite Tumblr page, warriors-official-art.tumblr.com. Shout out to them. They are very well organized and have a lot of the foreign language version artwork as well as all of the American artwork, and it's great. I've picked out two for us today. One is this, it's just a great image of like all our StarClan's chosen, our prophecy cats, going behind the waterfall and into the waterfall cave. And I'm guessing that's Brooke at the top there.
Either Brooke or Crag. Right?
Yeah, either Brooke or Crag, yeah. Both of them are like brownish tabbies, I think, right? No, Crag is gray? Question mark? Crag is tabby.
Pulling out the allegiances. Are they in the allegiances?
They're not in the allegiances for this book, I don't think.
Are they in the allegiances for Dawn? Because I have Dawn right next to me.
I think so.
Yes, okay. Brooke is a brown tabby, and Crag is dark gray. You were right.
Dark gray. Okay, so this is probably Brooke, because it does seem to be a brown tabby. Got some of that mud on her.
Got that mud.
But it's just really cute. It's all the cats walking towards the cave. Brambleclaw and Squirrelpaw are exchanging a glance in the back here. We've got a really pretty take on Tawny Pelt.
Gorgeous calico Tawny Pelt.
And the sort of algae and moss that's growing along the cave bits here around the waterfall I really like. Just some great details.
I love how it's like draping down with the water. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then the other one, of course, what I've written here in the doc is, of course, Poland is kicking my ass.
Yeah, this one fucks.
It's so good. It is a like headshot portrait of Feathertail, just like beautiful Feathertail here rendered with another smaller vignette of the moon underneath her, and it's like underlighting her, and there's a little cat standing out beneath the moon. It's in silhouette, so I'm not sure who it is. I would guess it's either Crowpaw or maybe it's Leafpaw if we're sort of doing the, the two parts of the story. But yeah, I love that. It's like this really nice muted gray background with a lot of paint texture and the, pinpricks of the stars. Big fan of this.
Honestly, the back cover is like just these like bare trees, like you can hardly see them silhouetted against the background. Gives me, this is going to be a guy who has only ever seen The Lion King. It gives me a lot of like the vibes of the landscapes in The Lion King at night, because it's like,
no, I totally see that. Yeah, it does have the feeling of those trees.
Just like these trees out in the middle of the night, and it just gives you such a good image. Also, you know what? Fucking shout out again to the original English covers.
Oh yeah.
I love, like, this is one of my favorite covers, I think.
It's so good. It's
so
got like
pretty.
the snowy background, the cats.
The color scheme matches the cat in the Feathertail's portrait, and it's just so beautiful.
Feathertail's portrait is gorgeous on that one.
It's so lovely.
One thing that I know about Feathertail is that she is one of the most photogenic cats that they put on the covers.
That is so true. Like, she's a star.
She is a star.
Well, speaking of
that,
do you want to get into it?
Yeah, we better get into it. Okay, summary time. For the first time in many, many moons, the prologue brings us to the cave behind the waterfall in the mountains. This is the tribe of Rushing Water, the modern ancestors of those who stayed behind when our Dawn of the Clans protagonists left to found the clans in the ancient past. Now they whisper of their leader's most recent vision, heralding that soon a silver cat will arrive to save them from a terrifying threat. Meanwhile, in the cave by the sea, StarClan's chosen, armed with the knowledge Midnight the Badger imparted, ready themselves to begin their journey home. They debate the return route, eventually settling on forgoing another trek through Two Leg Place in favor of traversing the mountains. Midnight bids them farewell, sending with them a silent prayer that they will have the strength needed to face their destinies. As their journey continues, Stormfur notices just how close his sister Feathertail has grown to the Wind Clan apprentice Crowpaw. He warns her that their relationship will get complicated once they return home, but if there's one thing these books have shown us, it is that love cannot be so easily cast aside. The mountains prove treacherous and difficult to navigate for the clan cats, with unfamiliar predators and steep terrain slowing their progress. When a rain-swollen stream sweeps them over a familiar waterfall, they make contact with the tribe, who show suspiciously gracious hospitality, taking them in immediately and offering to heal Tawny Pelt, who aggravated her still-healing rat bite in the fall. Reluctantly, they agree to stay in the cave for a few days. The tribe cats take a particular interest in Stormfur, and in return, he finds himself quite taken by their way of life, as well as with the tribe cat Brooke, whom he begins to develop feelings for. Still, the clan cats cannot help but feel there is something the tribe is not telling them. Back in the forest, Leafpaw watches as the ever-encroaching two-leg destruction begins to unravel the four clans. The chaos of the construction sites around the territory are disrupting the ecosystem. ThunderClan and ShadowClan both suffer from prey shortages, though Blackstar's pride keeps him from accepting an allyship with Firestar. In WindClan territory, the rabbits that they depend on for food have been poisoned, taking the life of several apprentices and elders and leaving what remains of their clan almost completely without food. Only RiverClan remains unaffected by the destruction, but a different threat lurks within their ranks. Through her friendship with Mothwing, Leafpaw sees more of Hawkfrost, and with every encounter she becomes more certain that the Tom is dangerously ambitious. Eventually, she confronts Mothwing directly about the identity of their father, and Mothwing reluctantly confirms they are the children of Tigerstar. The prophecy bearers, still trapped in the mountains, now learn of Stoneteller's visions and of the threat the tribe cats were hiding. Sharptooth, a mountain lion, has forced them to live like frightened prey for many moons, and they believe Stormfur is the silver cat meant to slay their adversary and free them. Initially, Stormfur denies this, and the party escapes, using the chaos of an attack by Sharptooth as cover. But between a burgeoning loyalty to the tribe, a dream of his long-dead mother, and an allyship with a trio of former tribe cats who were exiled after failing to fulfill a different Sharptooth-slaying prophecy, he realizes that he must follow his heart and help the tribe. They come up with a plan to lace some prey with deathberries and bait Sharptooth into eating it. But the predator arrives too soon, and everything starts to go wrong. Crowpaw is trapped by Sharptooth, and to save him, Feathertail dislodges a stalactite from the cave's roof, sacrificing herself to send it plummeting into the beast below. The silver cat was not Stormfur after all, but his sister, and fulfilling that destiny is her final act. Death also haunts the forest. Lack of prey means all of ThunderClan is starving. A kit and an elder both die as a result of the famine, and even worse, Cloudtail and Brightheart have gone missing. While initially rumors fly that Cloudtail returned to his kitty pet roots to escape hardship, when RiverClan's deputy Mistyfoot also disappears, Leafpaw begins to suspect the Two Legs might have something to do with it. She and her friend Sorreltail go to investigate and discover the missing cat's scent. But too late, they realize exactly how the humans captured them. And as she springs a box trap, Leafpaw is plunged into unfamiliar darkness. But help and hope are on the way. After burying their friend beside the waterfall and bidding the tribe farewell, StarClan's chosen have made it out of the mountains. In the distance, they can see Highstones, and beyond it, the forest. They're almost home.
Well, all right. So, you have a note that you want to bring up first.
Yeah, real quick. For me, there's a bit of an elephant in the room with this book, and that is the tribe of rushing water and indigenous stereotypes, not only in this book, but in fantasy as a whole, in genre work as a whole. But we're talking about this book, so I wanted to bring up that I myself, obviously, I'm not a native person, so I defer to actual native people who have spoken about this, and I want to bring forward an extensive document made by a group of indigenous people who are also fans of the series. I will make sure to link it in the show notes. Warning for anybody that's reading along with us that it does contain spoilers for future arcs, but while of course even it stated in the document's text, indigenous communities are not a monolith. No culture is a monolith. They're not saying that, like, these are the thoughts of every indigenous person about the tribe and these stereotypes, these tropes. I still think for me, it was an educational read, and I personally want on this podcast for, us to encourage critical analysis of the text, including where we think writers fall short on some subjects or fall into common pitfalls in the genre work or in writing in general. The more personal thought I have here is more about how deeply ingrained some of this stuff is to the fantasy genre itself. I think the most charitable read for what we see in this book and what we see with the tribe writ large is the Erin's Hunter drawing on tropes used in fantasy fiction for a long time, tropes used in xenofiction, which is, fiction where animals are the protagonists and things are from the perspective of animals, without necessarily taking a critical eye to their choices or going, maybe this is like a little bit too close to another thing that we really don't want to be that close to. And this isn't to say like, well, everyone else is doing it, so don't pick on the cat books. Like, this is specifically the opposite of that. Right. I want to be able to say that, we can learn a lot by expanding our knowledge. And I'm not saying that, like, I don't want to come off as condemning this book or condemning the series or anything, but I think it's important to, I think the most important thing that we can do as consumers of media in any, like, just as an individual, when we are watching media, it's important to remain open-minded, to expand our knowledge, to read different points of view, places that we don't have personal experience from, places that we wouldn't think to, and to like use that as, I'm a writer, you're a writer. Like, I like to be able to use this stuff to increase my knowledge and do better than my forebears when it comes to this kind of thing. So that's all. I just wanted to thanks for letting me be on my little soapbox for a minute. I just wanted to address that up front. Felt like it was important to say something about it.
Yeah. First off, we have Stormfur's perspective in this book, which I like Stormfur a lot.
I really enjoyed the Stormfur perspective. I saw that you have a note down here.
I love when we have a cat that isn't ThunderClan. No offense. But I just always find it a lot more refreshing when there's a non-ThunderClan cat as our narrator.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's good. I saw that you have a note down here that points out the thing I also noticed, which is Stormfur acting extremely bisexual in this book, talking about how much he admires Squirrelpaw and talking about how much he admires Brambleclaw in like the same breath.
Literally. Well, and it's not even the same breath. It's the same like descriptive way.
Yeah, it's true.
Because he never talks about Squirrelpaw being like physically attractive.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about her skills and her personality being what is attractive. And then he turns around and it's also like, well, Brambleclaw will make a good mate for her because he's also really strong and brave and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, boy, I swear to God. I did forget that Stormfur had a crush on Squirrelpaw at the beginning.
I also 100% forgot that. And I even read these not that long ago.
I completely forgot that he had a crush on her. But can you imagine if Firestar and Greystripe's kids got together, they would be the most annoying fathers-in-law. They would just be like all over their kids.
I got so excited thinking about that I hit my desk with my elbow and my mic spike.
Yeah, I just think if their bloodlines intersected this, I don't remember if their bloodlines end up intersecting, but if it intersected this soon, like these men would be helicoptering.
I wish.
But yes, I did forget Stormfur's crush. Loved to see the obviously this is me, a bisexual person, reading into it, but I now am 100% on the bisexual Stormfur train.
They just keep giving us these opportunities.
They really do.
Like, one of my earliest notes here is Leafpaw. Oh my God.
She is so gay.
I have this note here.
I'm so sorry, baby girl, for what they've done to you.
What do you mean? Leafpaw prompted. Oh, no, I don't know. Mothwing trailed off and looked away. Leafpaw stared at her, wondering what was going on inside that beautiful golden head. Bro!
Like, hello?
Hello!
I truly, and this is another one of those things. I really didn't remember this in my first read through, just like how much Leafpaw and Mothwing were like constantly interacting. But like,
yeah, it's a big part of this. It's so
gay. I love it.
I love it too.
Let these two touch noses.
And she's not gay with Sorreltail either.
That's so true. Leafpaw and Sorreltail have just this very like
besties,
fun besties
for fucking life
situation going on. They're like going off on all Leafpaw's little like missions that she's trying to go on to like solve all these problems because she can't fucking tell her dad She tries to, and then she gets stopped. She wants to tell her dad so badly that Squirrel Paw and Bramble Claw are okay, but Sorreltail is just like, sure, Leaf Paw, whatever you want.
She's so up for it. Leaf Paw is doing the Grey Wing thing in this book, where it's like, oh, I almost was able to tell my dad about what's going on, but something came up.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. There's so much fun and good stuff in the Leaf Paw sections of this book that I think took for granted as a child, and now I'm like so into. Just like great stuff around the camps, really good, like slow creeping dread as shit goes bad.
It's so good. Like, I loved Leaf Paw's chapters. Mm-hmm. I just think they were a lot of fun, and they really like give a sense of urgency and dramatic irony, because the chosen cats know that, like, you know, bad shit's gonna happen, but they think it's gonna happen when they come back.
Right. They are not prepared for
it to already have happened.
Have been just really bad. I would love, either I can read it or you can read it if you'd like, but I had this highlighted section from a Leaf Paw section that I really wanted to, this just like stuck out to me so hard. When she reached the top of the ravine, she paused. Her optimism vanished, and an icy claw closed around her heart at the sound of the shrill wails and yowling coming from the clearing below. As she looked down, Mousefur and Rain Whisker burst out of the gorse tunnel and raced up the ravine, hurtling past Leaf Paw without even noticing her. Leaf Paw bounded down to the camp and brushed through the tunnel, terrified of what she would find. Had the two legs reached this far already? Firestar was standing at the foot of the high rock with Greystripe, Sandstorm, and Brackenfur clustered around him. Outside the apprentice's den, Whitepaw crouched, wailing like a kid. Shrewpaw and Spiderpaw were trying to comfort her. Leafpaw skidded to a halt, bewildered. Why was everyone so upset? There were no alien scents in the camp and no signs of two-leg devastation. She spotted Cinderpelt, limping wearily into the fern tunnel that led to the Medicine Cat's clearing. Leafpaw raced after her. "What's the matter?" she demanded, dropping the chickweed. "What's happened?" Cinderpelt turned and gazed at her, her blue eyes full of sorrow. "Dappletail is dead," she explained, and the lack of emotion in her voice scared Leafpaw as much as anything else. "And Cloudtail and Brightheart have disappeared." And that ends the chapter, and that shit goes so hard.
It really does, especially because it's like, they really chose two perfect cats to get you like, what do you fucking mean they disappeared?
They did, and the little bit with Whitepaw, who is their kit, like being really upset in the background, and you don't know why she's so upset, and then they drop that. It's just like really it's well-constructed piece of fiction that just gets me. Whew.
Yeah, it's I love so it. Good.
Really great, like the little bit that there's a moment where they're like, it got too hard for him out here and he took his wife and he went to live a kitty pet life, but then they're like, but why would they leave their daughter? They love their daughter. And it's like, of course they wouldn't leave their daughter.
Well, and like also, and I don't
the 11-year-old in me, no.
Yeah. Well, and I think also like I don't think this is mentioned in this book specifically, but like Brightheart is known to have like the strongest faith of any cat. Like there's no way she would leave the clans of her own volition.
I didn't like put it in the doc to read, but the scene where Dustpelt like staggers out of the nursery and just slumps to the ground because one of his and Ferncloud's kits passed away.
I just devastated about them, actually.
I'm so devastated about them all the time. They have some of the saddest shit in the world happen to them.
They really do. They don't deserve that.
They don't. They're just two nice cats. Dustpelt was mean to Firestar for one book. He doesn't deserve this.
I just Googled Ferncloud and Dustpelt. Dustpelt and Ferncloud, the most underrated ship in Warriors. Agree.
Hell yeah. Agree. predictably, the other standout thing of like small cameos in this one, just the fact that Brackenfur is like part of the senior warriors group meetings every time.
I knew you were gonna mention him.
It just makes me really happy.
Like I noticed that he was one of the ones who got who went with them to ShadowClan to talk about the two legs destroying the forest, and I was like, Scout's gonna have something to say about how Brackenfur is the one that gets trusted to come with them.
Oh, red for fucking filth.
Yeah, that's okay.
I love him. I think the next bullet on both of our note lists is
I'm sick of it.
Spottedly.
Again,
I've had enough.
I feel like we have to reiterate this every time. I have no problem with Spotted Leaf the character. I have a problem with Spotted Leaf the plot device.
Please stop making her load bearing. I can't do it anymore.
Get the fuck out of here.
Curtis, get the fuck out
of here, man.
I've had enough of this dude. Please.
I need to make
just
that
let her
meme.
go be.
I've had enough of this guy.
Just let her go be in StarClan. Stop. She doesn't need to be in here. She doesn't need to be coming to Leafpaw in her dreams and like teaching Leafpaw how to give CPR. Please, we don't need this.
Yeah.
You know who Leafpaw could learn from? Cinderpelt, who's right here.
She's right here.
And also Yellowfang. If Yellowfang's the fucking Yellowfang being underutilized and will continue to be underutilized. I'm not bitter about it. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like this is just something that we just have to say we rant about it and then we move on, because I feel like we keep treading water on Miss Spotted Leaf over here.
It is funny though, like there's really an incredible arc since since Spotted Leaf's heart, that you see us go from our first instance of Spotted Leaf in the timeline, where we're like, everybody is just really like giving Spotted Leaf shit all the time, and then like every time she shows up, the writing is just so bad that it makes everything worse every time. I don't know how they keep doing it. Anyways, it's fine. Spotted Leaf, just fine. Just go away. Like, nothing against you.
Again, Spotted Leaf the character? Fine. Spotted Leaf the plot device? Absolutely not.
Stop making her load bearing. Stop making her plot critical. She's been dead for so long.
She's been dead for so long. Another cat I want to talk about. Fucking Hawkfrost.
Oh my god.
He is such a bitch from day one. Like, this man is so clearly telegraphed as evil as hell. Because not even his sister is like, no, he's a nice guy when you get to know him. She literally looks at Leafpaw and is like, I think my brother's gonna try and plan a coup. Literally.
She feels safer to pretend to like be in on his scheme than to just say, Hawkfrost, stop it. Bad. Really bad vibes.
I hate this man.
Yikes.
Like,
he is so atrocious to his sister.
He really is. He like beats her up. And then when she's like trying to remember stuff when there's an emergency, she's having a panic attack and he's like, you're not good for this. Like, why are you even a medicine cat apprentice? It's like, bruh, chill. She's been a medicine cat apprentice for like 2 weeks.
Please. You can't judge her against Leafpaw. Leafpaw's been doing this way longer and also has a load-bearing Spotted Leaf in her head.
Yeah. And also magical father powers.
And magical father powers. You're so right.
Which, speaking of timeline-wise, I think it's just fascinating remembering how unclear the timeline was in Dawn of the Clans. And here we've got like 2 books that have taken place over 2 weeks. Like, these books are not taking place over months and months and months. It's like everything is happening so fast.
Everything is happening so much. It's so true. It's just bam, 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 like one thing after another. And it really is funny to see Like, we talked about this back when we were discussing Dawn of the Clans,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way that the journey in Dawn of the Clans worked in comparison
Mhm.
to the way the journey is laid out in these books is so, like, why why did they do it like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the answer to that is that they were trying to do something that wasn't just doing, like, Moonrise again or doing, Midnight again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters I love from Dawn of the Clans, but the actual storytelling in Dawn of the Clans is really not
Yeah.
the best that the series has to offer.
Yeah. I do love all of the Chosen Cats, their squad.
I
The
love
6.
them.
I love them so much. I think these are some of my favorite cats.
They're so good. The dynamics are all so great between them.
I love how, like,
Every
they have such
scene,
clear relationships with each other.
clear relationships, clear characterization, really, like, tight characterization for now.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. For now. For now, things are fine. We're living in a
For
good...
now, things are
We're
great.
living in the good present, and
Mhm.
things will be fine for now.
Things are fine for now.
But yeah, I just really like them. I just think it's fun. I feel like when we get cats who are from different clans working together, it really shows, like, not to be wistful, like, what this series could be more
Yeah.
of. Because,
Yeah.
yes, I think that, having these, like, essentially different kingdoms is
Mm-hmm.
a very, like, fun way to look at the world building and to, like, do political intrigue. But, like, I also think that too often there is a leaning into the archetypes and stereotypes of a particular clan rather
Mhm.
than, like, showing that there's, again, as I mentioned at the start, love getting a perspective that isn't fucking ThunderClan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it shows that there's, like, a ton of stories going on, and, like, there's more that could be explored rather than the bloodline of Firestar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my soapbox. And I just think it's nice to show that, like, also these cats are like, yeah, we're gonna be friends, but, like, I know we're gonna go back and things are gonna be different, but for now, like, we can at least, like, bond with each other. We're not gonna, like, hold back from forming these relationships because, like, we all have a role to play.
Man, I love it when there's a role to play. Yeah, I have not been able to stop thinking about us making them into a D&D party last episode.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so real.
I cannot stop thinking about that. Another thing I can't stop thinking about is Feathertail saying we came on this journey together and we'll finish it together.
Oh.
I suppose it is time.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it. So, I have opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you start this discussion?
Okay, yeah. I believe in our very first episode, we talked a little bit about fridging in this series. And I think I offhand said something about we're going to see more fridging later. And that's what made me think of this. Feathertail's death here. In previous reads, I think I have always felt like it is sort of in the area of the fridging trope. But reading it this time, I don't think it is.
I agree.
And not just because I don't know if the boys actually learn anything in some cases, but for reasons that you've also written here too. And so I am passing the mic to you.
So I have a lot of feelings about, and I really do enjoy how a lot of early Tumblr culture kind of brought to light to the average person a lot of harmful media tropes, such as fridging and bury your gays. However, much like many things that Tumblr has done, I think that they have taken these two terms and many other terms, but that's a different story for a different podcast, many other terms to mean the creator making a decision I don't like. By definition, fridging is when a character only exists to motivate another character's journey. And I would argue that Feathertail has had enough screen time in these books, plural, to have, like, her whole purpose is not to die and motivate Stormfur, because she was in the previous series even. And she had her own stuff going on. She had, you know, the whole being captured by Tiger Clan thing and having to nearly face down her death. So in my opinion, this cannot count as fridging, because this is a character who has existed and had impact on the storyline in completely other ways without dying. And yes, she does die, and yes, it is a female character who ends up sacrificing herself, and there are plenty of things that can be said about that. But I don't think it's fridging specifically, because it is not like this is a character introduced to form a connection and then die in order to fulfill or to begin an emotional or material journey for another character.
Absolutely.
So that is my opinion on that. I think it needs to be looked at more critically instead of just saying any female character dying is fridging, because newsflash, lots of cats die in these books.
A lot of cats die in these books.
I think it cannot be said that a protagonist character, because she is kind of, or at least in Midnight was definitely like a protagonist character.
Absolutely, yeah.
It cannot be that this character is being fridged, because she has an arc. She has an arc. This is the end of her arc.
Yeah.
Similarly, like with something like Bury Your Gaze, you need to take into context the like piece of fiction it is and the other characters. It is not Bury Your Gaze if there are like 5 other gay couples in the series. It is simply, oh, this couple died. It is not Bury Your Gaze if lots of characters die, because it is, for example, like a series about wars or battles where like it's not just the gay characters dying. It's all the characters. Like that's just, and you know, other people have different opinions. I'll respect that. But I am of the opinion that you cannot just say everything falls into this trope because it meets the most basic criteria contextless. I think you have to take into account the context of the media in which it came from.
Yeah.
And that's my soapbox.
That's a good soapbox.
And yes, as Scout mentioned earlier, there are other issues with Feathertail's death that are completely unrelated to this trope.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely not what I am trying to have any sort of thing to say on. I am merely talking about the fridging trope.
Yeah, there's stuff in here. I mean, it's obviously complicated, and I don't think that anything that ends up reading in these ways of using, you know, indigenous or anti-indigenous writing was... I am a person who chooses to read pretty generously with these types of things, but, you know, harm can still be can still be caused accidentally, of course. But there is, you know, it's worth mentioning. There's stuff in here. There is some white savior stuff in here that you can map onto this story. It's obviously like it's easy to just go, oh well, they're cats, so like what they're not, and obviously they're not actually like directly analogous to any races or you know, cultures in real life, but the lines can be drawn, and that's the places where you want to be have a critical eye. And I think we point out a really good point that sometimes people are drawing lines that don't really hold water, and I agree 100% with you on the fridging thing here. And also I think that I have learned, vulnerable moment. I have learned a little bit on this podcast tonight, because I feel like you have just given me a much better summary and explanation of the fridging trope than I have like ever seen on a Tumblr post about fridging. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is what I call the practical application of my English degree.
Hell yeah,
it is
baby.
Used for this and predicting plot points on television shows that my husband is watching. and
Let's
him getting
fucking go.
upset when I say, oh, you know what would be really cool is if X happens. He's like, shut up, now it's gonna happen because you know these things. But yes, I'm really glad to have I'm glad to have done that. I think it's a really, I definitely was where you were at the beginning of it. I was like, oh my gosh, any female character that dies, this must be fridging. But like, after consuming a lot of media over the years, and after seeing some horrible takes on the internet, absolutely dog shit takes on the internet sometimes.
They really are.
You learn a little bit to start looking at things with a different lens. I do think fridging is I do not want to like minimize the trope, because I do think absolutely. A lot of media properties still have a problem with it. I just think it is important, as with everything, to like look critically at things before you just paint them with broad strokes.
Exactly. I think that this series I think Brightstream was at least very close to, if not fridging.
I think, that was who I was thinking of. For whatever reason, I thought Brightstream had a bird name for some reason for just a second. But yes.
Well, she did get, there was a bird involved.
There was a bird involved. No, I 100% agree that Brightstream was a severe case of fridging, because literally she was introduced and then died.
She was introduced and died. Yeah. Ooh.
But yeah, I definitely think like Feathertail not being a case of fridging is definitely not a there's no fridging in this series, because there certainly is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just to be clear to our listeners.
Yeah.
We know they're out there.
We know it's here.
We've discussed it before.
So, yeah. Oh, the other thing I really liked is Silverstream showing up to...
I really liked Silverstream showing up. I miss her.
And then Stormfur seeing her and Feathertail in the waterfall. I just thought that was a nice moment. I love Silverstream. I think she deserves everything in the world.
I agree that the image of her and Feathertail and Silverstream's StarClan ghosts sort of shimmering in the waterfall before disappearing is a really beautiful touch to the end of that arc. And then a sillier note is there was just a line in the book where a cat said, like, he shouldn't be here, Stone Teller, kill him. And I just couldn't stop thinking of the image of the boy saying, Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office. But it says, Stone Teller, kill him.
I love the audios memes of like so-and-so do X in order to like punish. A favorite of ours in the Discords are Bailiff whack his pee-pee. Which is a Judge Judy one. Is very good. But yeah, I mean, I will get to this a little bit when we share tongues. A lot of people are a little bit cold on this one, and not for the reasons that we brought up earlier.
Right, not for the reasons that anybody would have to be pretty legitimately cold on this if they felt that way. Just some not good takes.
Just a lot of opinions that like, it's not a very good book, and I'm like, I think it's fine. I think it like. I mean, I'm, again, a self-professed enjoyer of a journey story.
I love a journey story.
Loved the characters. I think that this was, like, a fine setup to what we're going to get in Dawn, which is me crying a lot. Just a lot of tears from me in that one. So look forward to that, listeners. You want to take us to the Erin Corner, or you got anything else you want to say? No, it's good.
That's it. I'm good. I'm ready to go to the Erin Corner. I want to start with a banger from the wiki. When Stone Teller asks Talon, "How do you propose to bring Sharptooth here?" the tabby replies, "With blood." Vicky explained that the exchange is inspired by Rambo, and Talon's response was meant to channel Sylvester Stallone. This is the funniest thing to me.
I fucking love that.
So funny. Because it really does come out of left field in the book also. It really surprised me that he like tears into his own paw.
Well, but also like, you know what? I do think Rambo and the Warrior Cats would get along.
It's perfect. I love these cats being Rambo. That's great. This is a Cherith Baldry book, but we've got some opinions about sort of the characters and the plots that happen in this book from the other Erins. A lot of differing opinions, in fact, on generally Feathertail and Crowpaw as an item, as a ship, as would they have worked if things were different. Some of them involve some later thoughts about Crowpaw's journey. So we're gonna, I'm putting a pin in this. We're gonna return to this because it's very funny to me.
Yeah, I am curious, just based on what we have so far in these books, what your opinion is on this, whether it would have worked out or not.
My opinion, I mean, I'm not the best at subverting expectations on this podcast, as we know. So I think I come down on that one of them would have left their clan to be with the other one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I come from on this. The bond that they have and the scenes that we see with them gives me that feeling.
It gives that vibe. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Feathertail has spent time outside of her clan already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Feathertail. I think the most likely option to me would be Feathertail going to live in Wind
especially
Clan.
After her, after the Shadow and River Clan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Graphic novel with just how much she has felt kind of ostracized. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. Hot take: they should both have moved into ThunderClan.
I would love that just so that they could be around.
Yeah.
I just like them. I'm a known Crowpaw apologist, honestly.
Yeah, I like Crowpaw a lot more as an apprentice than when he grows up. But
I feel like as he grows up, he gets the unfortunate situation of being viewed from perspectives that do not understand him.
Favor him.
Mm-hmm. And so we get a lot of uncharitable Crowpaw reads, adult Crowpaw reads. But that's for the future.
Yeah.
But I also haven't read Crowfeather's Trial. I haven't read.
Oh yeah. I've heard that one's divisive.
Yeah, that sounds right. It seems like that one and One Star's Confession, like later Wind Clan stuff, gets quite divisive. We will see.
That's what I've heard.
We will see how it goes. Just one more Erin Corner bit. Kate has said that she views Kate Carey has said that she views Leafpool and Mothwing as, quote, besties, unquote, instead of being closer than friends. Okay, Kate, you can believe that.
History will say that they were really good friends.
History will say that they were the closest of friends. Like,
respect to you, Kate, but also I've seen some of the decisions you guys have made, and I respectfully disagree. Let the cats be gay.
Let them be gay more. But yeah, that's it for Erin Corner. What do we got in Sharing Tongues?
Not a ton. Like I mentioned, a lot of folks on the internet seem pretty, lukewarm at the most generous on this book. Tumblr is once again useless to me. There is a location in the acclaimed video game Baldur's Gate 3. You may have heard of it. It is a little indie game from a tiny studio, very cult following.
I've been meaning to check that one out. I've heard not
a lot of people have played it.
I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. Especially not anybody on this podcast.
So that's why I was really surprised to see how much it was in the Tumblr tag. In all seriousness, there is a location in Baldur's Gate 3, the video game, called Moonrise Towers.
I see.
So even a search of Warriors Moonrise did not help, because Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game where you fight things a lot. So just not helpful. Mm-hmm. And anything I saw about Warriors, The New Prophecy, Book 2, Moonrise was people. I've noticed a trend of individuals on Tumblr having these detailed AUs on their blogs that people will like send in asks about like, oh, well, what is so-and-so like in this AU?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the majority of what I got in this search, was people talking about their Moonrise AUs. So that was interesting, but like, it was also completely out of context.
Yeah.
So there was something and it was like, is so-and-so trans in this one? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, like, sure, let the cats be trans, but like, I'm pretty sure that specific cat is not trans.
Oh, that's great.
So I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? And then I found out it was like somebody's AU or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, you know, made it a little difficult. This was a funny post I found.
I love this
I did
one.
search by Feathertail.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured that would give me some more stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a poll on Tumblr that is, kill the person you reblogged this from with one of these actual warrior cats' deaths. We have crushed by a tree because God disapproves of their actions. Sudden rat pack attack. Smited by God. Vaguely canon meteor strike. Impaling a mountain lion while falling to your death. Engulfed by a swarm of teenagers.
Oh no.
Gutted by scourge warrior cats and dying 9 times.
Hell yeah.
Sacrificing themselves to permanently remove an incel from the world.
Shout out to that cat. I know who that is.
The authors forgot to kill them, so now they exist in a state of purgatory. And green cough. Many of these I do not know.
I don't know. I'm so concerned about whatever the hell's happening with the teenagers.
But I do.
And the meteor strike.
Yeah, that one I'm like, what the fuck?
For the record, I think I would smite you by God, because that's the only thing that could get you out of here. That's the only way that they could kill you.
Oh, Scout, the comments have enlightened me. The swarm of teenagers is all the apprentices killing Bone.
Oh! I love that, actually. That's so much less sinister than just like a bunch of human teenagers running over a cat, which is what I was envisioning.
Yeah. Wow. Apparently the meteor strike was out of it is not necessarily canon.
Interesting.
It was from a interview.
Oh, an interview. Interesting.
Yeah. Another individual said Feathertail is the Hatsune Miku of warrior cats. What do you mean?
What do you mean? I don't know enough about Hatsune Miku to dispute this.
I don't either, but there was no context on this post. So
I love that.
If anyone wants to explain this to me, I would really appreciate it. And then this other one is a something that you wrote down, but I don't believe we discussed in our discussion.
we did not get to that, but
it is somebody's post saying, thinking about how 3 of the 4 chosen cats for the new prophecy, Tawny Pelt, Brambleclaw, and Feathertail, were all nursed together by Goldenflower, thinking about how Crowpaw didn't and how he kept feeling like the odd one out. Just general brain rotting. I think it's a really interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. I was thinking while I was reading this book, I was thinking a lot about how Brambleclaw, Feathertail, Tawny Pelt, and Stormfur were all nursed by Goldenflower for a period of time. And if they remember that, and if they like ever consider each other as siblings, it's never something that comes up in the text at all. But you know, it's
nice to think about.
It's nice to think about.
And that, friends, is what fandom is for. Thinking about shit like this, brain rotting.
Hell
over how the bonds between these characters could be. Mentioned already that a lot of folks seem to kind of be lukewarm. A lot of folks do say that Dawn is their favorite of the arc. So that's interesting to think about.
We shall see.
So there was one discussion forum that had no posts from any Warriors fans and was just inundated with spam links to an online pharmacy.
That That's Spotted Leaf.
Yeah. Some actual pharmacy links. Recent links. Some actual pharmacy links. Internet pharmacy. Online pharmacy. Internet pharmacy. Canadian pharmacy. Pharmacy for you. Perfect. That's exactly it. I did find one from a little further back from the 2010s. It was a forum thread just about general opinions about the new prophecy that devolved into absolute nonsense. What a different time that was, which was, as we will learn later on, what if a cat fell into the lake at the gathering? And how River Clan would react if they had to save a Shadow Clan cat from drowning. Absolutely wild time.
Wow.
Somebody trolling about a cat that we have yet to be introduced to, and Leafpaw killing each other, which does not happen.
does not happen, but it's so funny.
It's so funny. Somebody was like really getting into their like they found out that one person had only read to Moonrise, and they were like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna fuck with this person really hard.
Oh god.
And they were like, sorry, I just couldn't keep the spoilers in. And I'm like, you are so I cannot believe you. It was so funny. I loved it.
Oh wow.
AO3 only had 8 books. 8 fics for this book, mostly alternative universes, canon divergence, etc. Pretty standard stuff, I feel like, for most of the actual canon books, is for folks to kind of write what ifs. 41 for Crowpaw and Feathertail.
Hell yeah.
With drama, angst, alternate universe, fluff, adventure, character death, Feathertail lives, and romance being some of the top.
Shout out to Feathertail Lives.
Tags.
I love that being one of the tags.
Being a tag. It's used enough that it is a tag.
And it's separate. I love that it's separate from alternate universe canon divergence, too.
Yeah. There's plenty of Feathertail YouTube videos. Somebody wrote an original song for Feathertail. It is called One Not Two. Thank you, Golf Galaxy. And you can download it on iTunes.
Wow. Incredible.
The person wrote, I've always loved Feathertail so much. Her death literally wrecked me as a child. When I was rereading the books, I got to the part where she jumped off the cliff to kill Sharptooth, and I'm like, oh man, I got to do something with this. And here we are.
Hell yeah. I will have to listen to that after the recording.
I know in the books her jumping had more to do with helping Crowpaw and the others, but I really wanted to highlight her relationship with her brother because I feel like that was a powerful motivator for her.
If I could rewind and change my mind and do it all again, with all the answers ahead of me and knew how it would all end, could I make the right choice like before I knew that our destinies were tied to each other? It was me or you, one not two.
This is great. And this is something that people in our Discord have brought to my attention. I had no idea there was so much original Warriors music.
Yeah, this is great.
Like, people making fan songs. Like, I grew up in the fandom of That Will Not Be Spoken Of. And I know there was a lot of fan music for that. There's a lot of fan music for like Doctor Who and stuff. I don't know why I didn't think there would be any for Warriors, but there is a surprising amount. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I think it takes a lot of work to create your own song. I think that's just a really
absolutely
impressive thing to do. And shout out to everybody who does that.
Hell yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that DeviantArt existed. So I did look up. There's a lot of really pretty Feathertail art.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through this right now. It's great.
She's so pretty in every single one of these. My gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Somebody doing like human versions of them. The only thing is, fuck DeviantArt. because they're like very heavily promoting AI.
Yeah, they're doing some nasty AI shit right now. We hate that, but we love the artists that make beautiful things.
But yeah, I mean, scrolling through DeviantArt, there's just a lot of really fun character designs. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The Warriors fandom and their character designs, just fucking chef's kiss every time.
Oh, this is so fun. Wow.
I did earlier talk to Scout about, in Discord, about just being a little bummed by the fandom research on this one. Mm-hmm. And I was like gaslighting myself, like, do I have bad taste? But also several of the forum ones were just people saying, I hate journey stories. And I'm like, all right, so you hate fun and friendship. Like,
truly.
Okay.
Somebody.
That's on you.
Yeah. Makes me feel insane.
Yeah.
Could not ever be me.
But yeah, that's about all I've got here. Why don't we head on to our warrior cat of the week?
Yeah, certainly. My warrior cat of the week is the one, the only Sorreltail. She just brought me a lot of joy in this book. I love having her as a foil to Leafpaw, and not even, I suppose, a foil because I think any two characters can be foils to each other. But just like, they're really good friends, and it's nice for Leafpaw to have that support, and it's fun to see Sorreltail, who we saw nearly die a couple of books back, have grown up into like this really enthusiastic, happy, confident cat. She is just such like a bright light in the narrative to me. I've always loved her, and I will always love her.
Hot take. I feel like most medicine cats aren't shown to like actually have friends.
Yeah, it's true. At least like up to this point.
Yeah, like Cinderpelt and Firestar are obviously like they have a deep friendship, but like a buddy, a pal that you can kind of like hang with.
Yeah.
I think is pretty rare in these books for medicine cats.
That's
so
my emotional support friend.
Yeah, seeing that with Leafpaw and Sorreltail was just really nice.
It was really nice. What about you?
Well, I'm your best friend. My pick was Leafpaw.
Oh, Leafpaw, you are my best friend.
I loved all of her chapters. I just think that her storyline was really fun in this book.
It felt so much like a mystery novel to me.
Yes.
Like there was a lot of intrigue that I really enjoyed.
Also, like I could, looking back at it, it's like, oh, she is 100. Like I've always kind of felt like Squirrelpaw is a lot more Firestar than her sister. But like the way that Leafpaw is in this book, I'm like, oh, this girl is 100% Firestar's daughter, because this cat is like going off trying to negotiate with other clans in order to keep everyone safe. And I think even Graystripe or Cinderpelt, somebody points it out when she like is caught fishing with Mothwing.
Somebody's like,
you can't do that. And somebody's like, all right, well, I seem to recall that somebody and his best friend hunted for RiverClan when they had no food, so maybe you should chill out. Hilarious. Loved it. She's like, I really loved Leafpaw in this book. It really made me enjoy her a lot. Well, that's about all I've got.
Yeah, that's it. We end the episode as the best of friends as I take us into the outro. If you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Twitter and Blue Sky at Paws and Claws, and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. And you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, or Blue Sky at HumbleGoat. And you can see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
If you have any information on why Feathertail is the Hatsune Miku of warrior cats, please let me know in one of the following avenues. I'm on Twitter at plot_twists. on Blue Sky at plot-twists, or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss The New Prophecy, Book 3, Dawn. Read along by buying a book from a local bookstore or checking a copy out from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage